So this is already the third session of our office hours. It's a public office hours. So that means everyone can join. It doesn't mean that everyone can rewatch the recording. So everyone who is here will get the recording. I will send an email after once it's on YouTube. And then obviously if you are a RoamStack member, you get access through the community. So let's hear from you. Where are you calling from? What's a useful thing you've learned in Roam in the last week, few weeks? And what's one thing, if any, you're stuck with in Roam? And I need to change my Zoom settings a little bit. So I'm doing that. Please have a look at that. And then I will do proper introductions for those who are new here. Just 1 second. All right, I can see your faces while I'm sharing the screen. So Francis, I will make you co-host. See, I cannot make you a co-host, it seems. So I will need to manage it myself. But anyway, for those who don't know me, my name is Ramses Oud. If you think he has a funny accent, that's because I'm from Amsterdam. I've been into Roam for just under a year, and this summer, together with Francis Miller, who was also here in the call, we created RoamStack as a knowledge hub for people wanting to work better with Roam. So on the one hand, you have different courses, mostly video-based, and while they are useful for, well, depending on what you want to do, they're useful. Most people just want to figure out Roam. They're curious minds, but they need to know how to do individual tasks. So Francis and I were working on identifying, okay, what are the, first of all, what are the possibilities with Roam? But then also, what are the types of tasks and jobs and processes that we would like to manage with Roam or make our lives easier? So that is our project. That's RoamStack. We have a knowledge hub, we have a knowledge base, we have a community, and one of the forums that we educate, teach, and try to draw from the community. So we are also discovering one of those ways is the office hours you're in right now. So let's see. I don't see anyone. Okay, I see some chat now coming up. So please let me know where you're calling from. It's always nice to see international faces. Something that's useful and something you might be stuck with. You don't have to say what you're stuck with now. There's also time for Q&A, because the entire session will be first a welcome. I will then give a demo of text templates. So Roam-based text expansion using Roam 42. I will show you how to install Roam 42. It's very simple. Then system-wide text expander using text expansion using text expander, and then extra. Oh, shouldn't write and talk. And then extra is metadata, and I will later put this link in the chat. It's an article I wrote a while ago about how I use metadata combined with text expansion in Roam. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Let's see. If there are any questions, anything that you would like to put on like the agenda, please put it in the chat, or just speak up. Just unmute yourself and speak up. But we're going to start with the demo. So if you want to speak up and say, well, can you also address this during the demo, please let me know now. And while you're thinking, I'm going to go through the chat quickly.
So we can speak up now?
Yes, Deb, hi, welcome.
Hi. Hi, good morning. Um, I just found out that I could use my iPad with my Apple Pencil, first generation, but it still works. Um, but I'm not finding any really useful material on how I can use my iPad like a notepad that I can walk around with and just jot things down in my own handwriting. I love it.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
yeah. Yeah, I would say combined with Roam, it's pretty limited. And I am, let's see, I don't know if I can, can you mute here again because I hear a little bit of background noise.
Oh, okay. I'm mute myself. Okay.
Yes, thanks. So that's a really good question. I think it's outside of scope for now. So there are some people experimenting. In my opinion, iPad is still second-class citizen for Roam. If you want to use your iPad for note-taking, whatever, for now, I would say use other tools. So for now, it's outside of the scope, and I've been experimenting with my own iPad. Maybe if someone has experience with that, good question, Deb. Thank you. Put it in the chat. Maybe there are some people who are already experimenting with Roam. I know the scribble feature. Some people use it. I didn't get it to work. So you can essentially any text field, instead of typing, you can scribble, and then your iPad will turn it into typed text. But for me, it doesn't work in combination with Roam. So let's see. Let's see. I see people calling from France, New York City, Brazil, London, NV. I think that's Nevada. Learned you can send tweets using Roam Portal. That is something I would like to know a little bit more about. Dubai and Tariq, you're discovering Roam 42. That's great. Adrian likes to know a little bit more about attributes. Okay, we can cover that today. See someone else from New York City. I see some question about highlighting also from Tariq. If you can change your highlight color, that's a CSS thing. For today, it's outside of scope. It was, if you remember, RoamStack member, it was in the last office hours, so you can look back. And then I wish creating a table become more user-friendly. I can give a very short demo because we're diving into plugins if there's time. There's a plugin by David Vargas, and he has created something for attribute tables, so you can do like sorting and stuff. And it is located at roamgs.com. All right, so I will start with the demo. If you have questions, again, just put them in the chat, and then after the demo, you can speak up freely. So for now, I want to focus on text expansion, and I will first do that through Roam 42. So I don't know if there are any people here who don't know what Roam 42 is, but so I will give a very short introduction. Roam 42 is a plugin for Roam, so you can install very little snippets of code within Roam, and they extend functionality. So Roam 42, what it does is it has several added functionality for shortcuts, shortcodes. So you can navigate Roam, for example, or your blocks. You can manipulate blocks where they are using your keyboard, which out of the box Roam already has that quite covered well, but Roam 42 does it really well. If you can, yeah, I'm still sharing my screen. So here, for example, is the Roam 42 menu, as you can see here. It's the Roam 42 menu. So it does quite a bit. I can jump to my daily notes from here. Sorry, I can make it a pop-up. So now this is a pop-up created by Roam 42. There's a dictionary. Again, it's like pop-up. So I can just look for words here. For now, it's the English dictionary. It has focus mode, privacy mode. I'm not going to dive into all these things, but it also in the background adds a template engine. So I will first go to what's this? Yeah, first going to show you this bit of code. So and Francis, again, I think I asked you to last time to link to the same articles. Can you link to the blog article about installing a plugin? So it's just a very simple setup. You have essentially two blocks, one that says Roam/JS within these function brackets. And then you have a code block underneath. That's JavaScript, which is nested underneath this block. I'm not going too deep now. Francis will link to the article on the RoamStack blog, how to install. But now what I can do is I can create pages. So now Roam 42 is enabled. And this isn't really well documented feature of Roam 42 because you cannot set this up using the menu. But once you have Roam 42 enabled, and enabling it means it has this yellow background because I can stop it now, and now it's not working. Now Roam 42 is off. So yes, I know what I'm doing. I don't know if I need to refresh now. Let's try it without refreshing. And I can set up template pages. So for example, I can do template and then /daily. So this is just a page, and a page in Roam, it's just a collection of blocks. But from here, I can set up a template, a text template. And this only works when Roam 42 is enabled. But I can essentially create a text template. So now if I go to, let's go to a test page. All right. And I type : daily : what will happen is that daily page, sorry, that template / daily page will start to populate here. So I just type that now. As you can see, boom, it expands. And now I have this template. I've called it in my, can be my daily notes. So what I start with every day is I type : daily : and then this expands. I could do this using text expander, but I just try to move as much as possible within Roam directly. So I have some other templates. So this is Roam native. So I have a template daily. I can have, before moving on to the next part. Oops. Sorry, that's something else acting up. I also have, for example, one that's a little more extensive, weekly review. So you can see it doesn't work perfect. Some things, like for example here, it skipped a bullet. This is probably an error in my template, but this is how I do my weekly review. So that's Roam native. Then there's another option using text expander. There are different options. There are extensions like Text Blaze. There's Keyboard Maestro. There are different options. I really like text expander also because I can use it. I can use it on my phone. I can use it on my iPad. So I have the text expansion keyboard wherever, on whatever device I use. And the reason I still use text expander is because it allows me to do some more advanced stuff. For example, putting in the time of day. So if I look here, and sorry for the small text, I hope you can still see it. I have a few snippets here in text expander. So for example, I have an article with snippet with metadata. This is a little bit legacy, so I could do this now. I could do this the same way I just shown you, but my experience is, especially with the headings, it works a little bit better this way. But I also have like morning pages, which have the hour. So when I expand this, and I will show you. So morning pages for me, the text expander snippets from text expander start with a semicolon. So morning pages, the abbreviation for me is MPGS, which I've set up myself, and then again semicolon. And then I get this template. So I get the time, it's tagged with morning pages, I tag my feeling, and I tag my energy level. The reason I do this is because then using Roam Portal, I can track my emotions and my energy levels over time. I also have one for my interstitial journal, for example. So semicolon, J semicolon, works the same principle, but then it's tagged interstitial journal. So that's the way I use it.
Quick question, please.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. On my computer, I mean, I have text expander, and I put in some abbreviations, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So the question I came up with was, does text expander have to be open on my computer for it to be effective?
Yes, it has to be open. Yeah.
So it's not just working, doing its magic in the background. Okay, that answers that.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. And on Mac, sometimes there is this, I don't know why, but there's this blocking issue that it doesn't work somehow. So then you get this message, oh, text expander doesn't have access to this and this process. The way I solve it is by just restarting the system. Not very sophisticated. But the beauty of text expander is that you have a little bit more freedom to insert dynamic elements. So it could be, I mean, you can take it as far as you want with text expander. So essentially, you can even have an email template with dynamic fields. So whenever you expand it, you get a pop-up with all the fields you have to fill in manually, and then it's expanded with the right dynamic information. Pretty cool. I use it mostly for stuff that is likely to throw off the Roam 42 template engine. For example, when templates become very long or complicated, I wouldn't recommend it because it's still not flawless enough. Sometimes it skips a block, as you've seen in the test just now. It inserts a random empty block. That can happen. Plus, it doesn't have the hour annotation yet. So how I use them mostly is for metadata. So like I've shown you, I also use it for journaling, but then I have a snippet. And as you can see, text expander is also way quicker. It's instant. So I have some metadata, author, source, PS level. I will get into that in a bit. Tags, and then notes and highlights. If I take a template for a book, you'll see it's different. Because now I not only have highlights and notes, I also have questions. I also have interdisciplinary connections, yes, key arguments and takeaways. So these are like where I write my summary. And the reason I do this is because Roam doesn't have an inherent structure, but it really pays to have a structure, because now every time anything I indent under notes is associated with notes, I can find it by looking for notes. When I call it when I call a block or find a block through a query, it will be associated with the notes header here. So I will know it's a note I wrote. Whereas a highlight, if it's indented, I know it's a highlight because every time I retrieve it using a query, I can see in the association tree, it's almost a tree with a branch. I can see, oh, this is a highlight. So I have different metadata templates, and it makes it really easy to find stuff, first of all, but then also so this structure in itself, I move from highlights, stuff that's not my own, to notes, to questions, to connecting with other stuff, to then writing a summary for myself. So that, and again, this is for a book. And in the case of a book, I also like to have a recommended by, because I tend to search for, or I tend to choose books that were recommended to me, especially if it's several times something was recommended to me. So I will put, if it's mentioned several times, I will mention all the people who recommended it to me. So it's like social proof, and it helps me pick a book. And here it's the book's tag. And then often I also give it a status. Sometimes, well, here I have a status, attribute. And for example, I will do something like reading, or I can do to read. Oh, to read. I don't know what is happening there. Let's see. Yeah, well, to read. Should be in capitals. So I give it a status. So again, when I'm looking for books that I want to read, I can look for a status, and then I can see, okay, who recommended it. So especially with attribute tables, and slowly they are becoming more useful and more powerful, also because they're plugins made by other people. This comes in handy. The PS level is something I came up with myself. That it essentially stands for progressive summarization, and I give it one of these. It's either PS, progressively summarized, or linked. And linked means that I link highlights that I add. Well, let's see. I add links to other notes, to concepts. Can be anything. So, for example, I will show you something I am writing now. This article, and how I work, as you can see, also in this reference. Let's see. Yeah. So, for example, this is an article I read. I have highlights, and I pull my notes in using a query. And I realize I've shown this last office hours as well, but not everyone was here. And I pull in my notes using a query, and then I have all this metadata. So it becomes very easy to find this article. And I'm writing this article about a concept I'm thinking about a lot called learning workers. And I just pulled in all these articles this morning. I've been going through them and picking out like ideas. Let's see, ideas, be writing my notes, and those notes are based on other ideas. And as you can see here, everything is linked. So there's more chance for serendipity. And the reason it's so easy for me to do this is because I use text templates to bring it home again. So text templates, it really helps you to create structure in your Roam database, and it makes it work with the knowledge that you have in your database so much easier, because you can then retrieve it so quickly, and it becomes a joy to work with it. And for me, it really feels like play, because I know the territory somewhat, I know the structure somewhat, and then within those constraints I've set for myself, I work. And then I can leave this and I can return, and I know the structure because I always use this structure. I start with research. I look for links. So in this case, learning workers, that's just a concept. And then from learning workers, I retrieve these articles. But I've only done 2, but I know my structure, I know my process. I know I just work from the top to the bottom, and then I start with my outline, and then I have my draft. So simple. So for me, it really helps to do knowledge work this way. And that was a longer demo than I anticipated. So sorry if I was jabbering on. I'll stop sharing. Are there any questions? And I will pull up the chat as well. Let's see. Oh, where do you find the JS? Let's see. So you have how to install Roam plugin, and then I will give you the link to, let's see. We also have a Roam 42 page, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So these are the instructions for Roam 42. And then the code, you need to retrieve it from the Roam 42 database. And you also find some install instructions. It's essentially copy paste and then put it in the Roam/JS page. Although that step isn't mandatory, I believe, but it's nice to group everything on one page. So Adrian, I've just installed it. How do I know how to use it? I've just linked to a page on RoamStack, Roam 42 page, and essentially explains what it does and the keyboard shortcuts. And it also links to the Roam 42 database, the official database. So again, with many of the Roam things, the information is very scattered. So that's why we created the Roam 42 page. So you have at least one home you can go to. And we also have some videos explaining. Yeah, we have some videos explaining the different features. And if you have Roam 42 installed, and we'll share my screen again, you should have in your menu. So it's either at the top, and if you don't have a theme installed, I will disable this theme for a bit so you know where to find it. So this is the standard theme. Here in the top, you see this Roam 42 icon, and you can open it, and then you have all these different options. And one of the options is the help option. If you click it, then you have the quick reference for Roam 42. So you can also search for options. So let's see, like live preview. Just search for live preview, and then you can see, oh, this is Control-Shift-I believe. If you look on the Roam 42 page on RoamStack, we also have all the Mac OS shortcuts. So in the Roam 42 help database, you get them for Windows. We've translated them also to Mac OS. Yes. Oh yeah. Have I written a blog post on my workflow for writing blog posts? So Francis is actually working on a pipeline system right now for the RoamStack knowledge base. I have written a article or a series of articles about how to take digital notes. And part 4 also goes in depth into, and I've just linked to it in the chat. It goes in depth into text templates. So how I use text templates and how I structure my articles and notes. If you want to know my writing process, that is part 5. So that's the article that comes after it, and it's titled How I Take Smart Digital Notes, Part 5, Organizing for Output. And then I talk about, okay, how do I actually create an outline using blocks? It doesn't have, well, it doesn't have any screenshots I see now. So I might do a video on it soon, or a more in-depth article again. But let me think if there's anywhere. Francis, do you remember if I've written about it? I think only my newsletter system, right? How I write newsletters.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Let me see in the community. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I've written a step-by-step guide. It's not about writing articles, but it's close. It's about newsletters. So if you're a RoamStack member, you can check it out in the community. And I will show it very quickly on my screen. So essentially, I list sources, and I do that using the linked references. So again, this is for my newsletters that I write. I tag the articles I want to mention in the newsletter. Then, as you've seen before, I have this research header. I just mentioned the article, and then underneath, nested underneath, I just pull in linked references, blocks. I add my commentary. You've seen that, what I was just sharing before. And then I synthesize it into an article. So that's outside of the scope, but let's see. I think the article, so the newsletter I just shown, this is what I essentially do. So I take quotes and I add my own commentary to it. So that is essentially my process. So these are all blog references. And in my database, I need to re-enable this. Now my database, it was this one, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so as you can see here, these are the block references. So I write my newsletters in Roam as much as I can. And then I have them proofread, and then it's out. So for me, it's really frictionless, this way of working, because together with the text expansion and the structure that I have with my metadata, it becomes really easy to chip away at an article. It doesn't have to do in one, I don't have to do it in one go. So I don't do any heavy lifts. I do tiny bits. So I'm like gardening a little bit. If you've heard about this different types of note taking, you have like the architect, you have the librarian, and I tend to believe that Romans, people who use Roam, tend to be more gardeners. So they chip away at content, they add a little bit more context, they link some stuff, and over time, the value arises or emerges from your database, because you're starting to see connections. Let's see. Let's return to the chat. Oh, I got a question from Ali. How I use Inbox? I use it in different ways. So let me show you without. Yeah. So I will share my screen again. So I have this inbox tag in my daily template. And essentially, it's everything that I want to return to at some point, but it doesn't really need attention right away. So I use my calendar for the most important stuff that needs to happen on a specific date and time. I use my to-do list. I also add some dates to my to-dos. I use things for that because I find it a little bit more frictionless. And then I have my inbox for just things I can return to. It's if you're familiar with GTD, getting things done, it's my someday maybe inbox. So I tag it with writing. So I'm currently writing my content thesis. So what is my overreaching contents? What are the topics that I write about? I have something for business. I have a format idea for courses, book recommendation I got. So using these tags, obviously this is CSS. So tags in this theme are clearer. For me, this works really well. And for example, here, yesterday I started with a Twitter thread I'm writing. So I have a page for that as well. But today I wanted to continue with it. So I've put it in my inbox. And then I found this tool, which, again, just put it in my inbox. It's a catch-all. So when I start to work with Webflow and Ghost, then I can create a page where I put all those blocks associated with that, that project. Up until that point, it's part of the inbox. So I don't worry too much what's in the inbox. Let's see. Ben, so Ben, you're asking where you can get the other recordings. If you are a RoamStack member, you can find it in the community. I see Francis's link to it. All right. Sorry for talking so long. I hope it's been useful so far. So any questions? I'm going to take a sip of water or comments. If there are no questions, no comments, then it will be a relative short office hour. All right. So in that case, I have nothing to demo for now. Let's see. Oh, there's some more questions coming in from the chat. So first, Ali, can you talk more about the membership? So yeah, like I said at the beginning, Francis and I, we started RoamStack, I think in August of this year. It started out as a newsletter, but from the beginning we had the idea we want to create a knowledge hub, and we want to invest quite some time into this. So both Francis and I, we spent quite a bit of time on RoamStack, and it is a knowledge hub. It's part curation and it's part teaching. And the reason for creating it is, first of all, well, there's happening a lot in the Roam sphere, in the Roam cult, as it's called. But it's scattered around. So it's on Twitter, it's in different newsletters, with all due respect for the Roam team, but they are not educators, they are hackers and programmers. And you can see that also in the way they communicate new features. So that's why we started the newsletter. It's a bi-weekly newsletter, so every 2 weeks we send out a digest of stuff we found online, our own content that we create, and then we try to spot gaps in educational materials in the Roam community. So for example, if there is, I will give you a very concrete example. Queries. If you look at Roam queries, for most people, they feel like it's a very advanced feature, whereas you can use it with just, if you understand a very simple logic, Boolean logic, but nobody teaches it. And all the stuff that's taught in general about queries is taught using videos. So you have to watch a 10-minute video, whereas maybe you can understand it in a 300-word article. So we are going for clear information, make the transfer of knowledge as simple as possible, and then really look for the stuff that's most useful, because we can all philosophize about what's possible with Roam, but if you're not actually using those features, it's pretty useless. So you want to solve real problems, and then for those problems, you don't need to have some kind of metaphysical discussion on Twitter with 5 subthreads you have to wade through. No, we just want to have a very clear picture of this is the feature, this is a problem it solves, this is what's also possible with this. So for example, you can use tags and you can use queries just to make your search life a little bit easier, or you can create a content pipeline with it. So we try to be a little bit more creative with Roam features. And we don't believe it has to be in video format. For some things, it's easier. So for example, when I'm demoing, it's obviously easier if I just show it on the screen than telling you, describing it. So we try to look at the problem we're trying to explain, or the solution to a problem we're trying to explain, and then pick the best format. So that's a little bit the philosophy. And then the membership is, well, you get access to all of the content. And the free part, it's only our blog and the newsletter that we send every 2 weeks. So you get access to a knowledge base, you get access to a community, but you're also like supporting this vision in making Roam more accessible and helping yourself essentially with useful information. And what we also really want is to get feedback from the members. So we really want to hear your challenges, and we're even willing to hop on calls with you to hear what your challenges are, help you solve little things. So we're not Roam consultants, but if we understand your needs better, then we can also create content that's better aimed at specific problems. And if we hear a problem enough, we can dive deeper into that subject. So it's very audience first driven. So that's why we're organizing things like this. Let's see, Ben, how can I get the iPhone to default to quick capture after having accessed my full graph? I don't know. Maybe someone else knows. I don't use the quick capture. I don't like quick. I don't like it. I have back tap set up, and if I triple tap, then you'll see it's not working. Yeah, a drafts note opens up. So, I mean, this beats the quick capture any day of the week. I first used this with the quick capture. So I set up an iOS shortcut and then linked it to the back tap, but it doesn't work well until Roam is releasing a native app. I'm reluctant. I'm striving for frictionless processes. So for me, this is not frictionless. But if someone else has a way, please share. Let's see, Tariq. Yeah, okay. Tariq really wants to know about coloring highlights. Francis, isn't there an article on Roam Brain, or didn't you create a PDF about coloring tags?
No, but we'll put that on our content roadmap.
But there is.
We've got one on changing themes, but not on.
But and you touch on in it. You touch on. I think you touch on tags as well. One of the steps.
Okay, I'll have a look.
I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I don't have the PDF here ready. Yeah. So I am not a CSS pro. I don't dare to say anything about it. In office hours too, we did touch on it briefly. Then there was a member, Palash, who said he was also going to write about it. Let me quickly check the community. Please bear with me. I'm looking this up right now. There is, yeah, no, there was, oh yeah, wait, there was a chat. Yeah, I need to look it up, Tariq, sorry. Not going to waste other people's time now looking it up. So please let me get back to it. So there are ways, obviously, but yeah, this is sort of a very short article. Thank you for pointing it out. I wish I could help you right now. That was what I was trying to do, provide you with an answer right now, but it's not possible. Let's see. Then Ben, how often do you plan to do these office hour sessions? So we aim for one every 2 weeks. If you're a member of the RoamStack newsletter, you'll get the announcement the week before, so you can register. Yeah, for now we'll continue them. So this is a nice sizable group. Generally, it's me talking so far, and me sharing my workflows. We get some questions via the community, email, Twitter, and then live. So that is how we structure them. It's a little bit free format. So if you have suggestions, if you think, oh man, this sucks, please do it this way. We're open to anything. Let's see, what else? Any experiences with importing from MarginNode? Wow, yeah, I've used MarginNode a lot. It works perfectly on RemNode, but I can't get it in Roam. Nicholas, I don't know what your process is. With RemNode, do you first export it to Evernote, or do you directly export it from? You do?
Yes, I export to Evernote, and in the last actualization of RemNode, the image didn't work to export, but now they fixed it. I talked with the support, but with Roam, it's impossible. I tried every export feature, export to Omni, export to anything, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I know how you feel. So I abandoned MarginNode because of that. I was using it a lot, but then exporting from, let's see, exporting to Evernote, and then from Evernote, I would copy paste them to, I think, Visual Code Studio, because you have these line breaks that turn into hyphens, if I'm not mistaken. So I had to clean those out, and then I could copy paste them to Roam. And I thought, this is not worth it. So I'm now using PDF Expert. I email them to Readwise, and then Readwise extracts everything for me, and I just do the Roam export. So, but MarginNode is the only app I know that lets me highlight or capture images. I don't know any other PDF reader that does this. So if anyone has a suggestion. So sorry, Nicholas, the only suggestion I can give you, I've linked to part 4 of my article, and you can see how I use the text expander template. And then I go into Evernote, take out the notes, and then paste them into Roam. And I had to do that before because there was no integration between Readwise and Roam. So I had to do that. I had to let Readwise export to Evernote first. So yeah, it's a manual process. If I were a coder, I would probably create some kind of script that pulls something out of Evernote and then cleans it up and presents it as a plain text file or something. But I have no information on that. Oh, and I see that Ben Tariq, I see that Ben has mentioned something about color coding. Yeah, Maggie's awesome. She also has a custom theme, and if you, let's see. And I have her theme here as well. Yeah, okay. So we'll share my screen. So as you can see, and obviously you need to understand CSS a little bit, but it's like the nice thing of Roam is you can click this color. So this is the Mapleton's theme. And she has in this code, she has custom data tags. So she has a tag which is Twitter post, literature notes. So you can set up your own. Let's see. I can essentially just copy paste this in the chat, and you should be able to use it, Tariq. This, and then you can, if you paste this into like your CSS, you enable it. You can just click this, and then you can set it to any color that you want. So this should work. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I think it was Ben, right? Thank you. Yeah, great. Let's see. Is there a keyboard shortcut for strike through? Yes. It's on Mac, it's Command Y. So that's on Mac for strike through. Command, oh, sorry. I'm sending to someone private. Command, sorry, Shauna.
That's okay, Ramses.
Okay, let's see. It's Alt K for strike through on Windows. Yeah, perfect. And yeah, or you have to put the tildes in front, but nobody wants to do that. Let's see. What else? Strike through. Oh, and Shana, I also see I sent the. Sorry, Tariq. I've now shared the CSS in the chat. I was sharing it privately with someone. All right. And see, we're 5 minutes from the end of the office hours. So I've been jabbering the whole time, but hopefully it has been useful. And thank you for the questions through the chat. That's very useful. And seriously, that is what this, in my opinion, what this office hour really makes useful, because you can come with your questions. And I don't think that much about CSS, but it has come up to our attention twice now. So that means we're probably going to write an article about it. Thank you, Ben. Great feedback. It's great to hear. I will just stick for 5 more minutes. Take a sip of water. If there are no more questions, you can leave. But I will stick for 5 more minutes if there are questions, and I will keep an eye on the chat.
Thanks, Ramses. Sorry, I didn't quite catch the strike through on Windows. I can't get that to work. Do you have to highlight the text, and then what's the shortcut?
Alt
K. Yeah, so I'm not
actually. Let me qualify that. So I'm testing it right now in Roam, because not all Windows keyboard shortcuts work in Roam, just because of the way that they've configured some of their native shortcuts. And this one does not seem to work, whereas it will work outside the system. So I can look into that and see what I can find.
Thank you.
Maybe it's if you have, okay, so if you have Roam 42 installed, you can select the text and then have Alt Shift T. Use Alt Shift T if you have Roam 42.
Perfect. Okay,
Yes.
I've just installed it, so Alt Shift and T. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm sharing now the quick reference. So as you can see, out of the box, there's no Windows shortcut, it seems, for
yeah.
strike through. But then you see the Roam 42 features. And again, I pulled this up using on Mac Control Shift H, or you can just pull it up from here, from the Roam 42 menu, and you just click Help. So on, yeah, so it's the same on Windows, Control Shift H. And then so I just search for strike through, Alt Shift T. Great. Glad that could help.
Session. Thank you.
I got a completely, I have no idea what Alt Shift T did on my system. It's so bizarre. I have like a bullseye and it looks like pixel notation. So as I move it, it tells me I
Oh,
have text highlighted and I've got like a pixel notation of where the cursor is on my screen.
that you know,
I just did it
it's
twice. So
may-
it's
may-
definitely
may-
the Alt Shift T. And I have Roam 42.
Oh, that's strange. Maybe it's a kind of program install that's using it. I mean, I use so many shortcuts on my system and on Mac, which out of the box already has quite some shortcuts. I run into stuff like this all the time. So it's looking for the app or the service or the extension that's throwing things off. All right, then. I'm going to. Oh, wait, you have another question?
I wrote a question in the chat.
On your sorry, Carol.
On your system, you seem to have lots of different versions on your Roam CSS page. And I was just wondering how you could...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you could have more than one.
You can only have one active at a time. So it's a good question. Thank you. I'll share my screen again. Luckily, I don't pay per share. Otherwise, I would be poor. So the one I've currently enabled, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm not going to try. Yggdrasil, yeah. And it's currently enabled. So as you can see here, if you have this, you have the code editor. And I can disable it by turning it to another language. So it no longer looks for the CSS. So now this is, there's no theme active. Now I can go to another code block and now I enable it. And now I have it. But
Perfect.
I cannot have them enabled at once. As you can see, nothing will happen. So even though CSS is still enabled here, it only picks the top one. So I like to do this because, as you can see, I can do fast switching. So yeah, it's very useful to do it like this. Alternatively, you can use Roam themes. So that's roamthemes.io, which is a browser extension. And then you can just select it. So let's disable this. And then essentially you have the same thing, what I just did. You can say, this is my theme now. And here you have it. But I prefer this.
Roam themes don't seem to have updated their security certificate, so you get a warning if you try and visit the site at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That helps.
You're welcome. Okay, I need to check the chat before I'm disconnecting everyone. I've noticed. Let's see. See, Ben, where are you located? Me? Is that for me? Oh, I said that at the beginning. If you hear that funny accent, it's because I'm Dutch. I live in Amsterdam, so born and raised, and yeah, I like to teach. That's also my background, by the way. So I come from a corporate environment, but I actually have a teaching degree. So I like to nerd out in groups like this. So What else?
You asked at the
Oh, Ben.
beginning. Sorry.
Sorry,
You asked
Carol?
at- You asked at the beginning what we'd learned in the last week.
Yeah.
Well, I managed to do my first web page, writing it completely in Roam, so I'm quite happy with that.
Oh, wow. Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. I believe Roam has the potential to make everyone a little bit more technical, because in very little steps, you start to think in different ways. So you start to link notes in the beginning, but later on, when you start to get more into more technical stuff like data structures, it clicks, because if you're used to Roam, you're already used to connecting things and experimenting with things. So for example, many people are trying to adjust their Roam database, and they start to learn CSS, which is amazing, I think. So I'm going to stop the recording. All right. Everyone will get a recording who was here, and I will also post it in the RoamStack community. And I want to thank you for your attendance, but especially for your questions and sharing stuff. So Ben, Shauna, thank you very much. Also, especially you two. And Francis, thank you for being my right hand.
Pleasure.
All right. Have a great evening, afternoon, morning all.